Coming up on Star Spangled Sports, we've got wild Week 1 action in the NFL. Emotions were flying in the big city as the football world couldn't believe its eyes.
Loss of 10 on the play, and hopefully the Jets are thinking that's the only loss on that play.
Plus, are we flashing back to the 2008 Olympics? King James is in full recruiter mode for one last dance. All that and more starts right now. Welcome to Star Spangled Sports. I'm Matt Seaman.
And I'm Kyle Abercrombie.
Earlier this week, our country remembered the thousands of innocent lives lost in the 9/11 terrorist attacks.
That's right, Matt. And 22 years later, we are still forever grateful for those who sacrificed their lives so we can enjoy our freedom. And one of those freedoms is celebrating the start of the NFL season. Week 1 kicked off this past weekend, and what better way to honor those heroes than to have 2 primetime games in the Empire State. Aaron Rodgers is introduced to MetLife Stadium with a standing ovation, carrying out the flag in his first game with the Jets.
Jets' first drive, Leonard Floyd takes down Rodgers, and the 4-time MVP would only last 4 snaps in this game. His debut ends early with an Achilles injury.
Bills up 3, Josh Allen rolls to his left. He's down there somewhere. He heaves it downfield to Deontay Hardy, and he overthrows him as Jets cornerback Jordan Whitehead comes down with the interception.
We head to the second half. Allen, under pressure, fires one to Stephon Diggs, and the 26-year-old gets his second interception of the game. I sense the Madden curse brewing.
Bills still up by 7. Josh Allen, you know your team is in blue, right? The former Buccaneer makes it look easy as 1, 2, 3. Both teams tied it up at the end of regulation. Bills got the ball and couldn't do anything, which ultimately led to this.
Corrals the snap. It's a short punt. Gibson on the return. Near side. I don't see any flags. Gibson inside the 30. Hits the Jets. And he's going to go. Jets win it. Touchdown!
Jets come up on top in a wild one, 22-16 to open up the season, but at what cost? According to reports, it's been confirmed Aaron Rodgers has a torn Achilles. He will miss the remainder of the season. Head coach Robert Saleh made it clear Zach Wilson is QB1, but New York wants to add another fuel handler for depth purposes. With a few notable names on the market, Gang Green has their options open. All right, Matt, what do you got with America's team?
Well, a day earlier, they were also in the city that never sleeps to take on the Giants in the pouring rain. First drive, Giants. The ball flies past Daniel Jones, but he lands on it. Giants have to settle for a field goal. But oh wait, the ball is blocked by Wanye Thomas. Cowboys special teams picks it up. Graham Gano gets a Derrick Henry special, and that special teams is looking good. Cowboys strike first. End of the first quarter, Jones lobs it to Saquon, and they're going to play a little bit of hot potato with the G-men. Cowboys defense again scoring. Who needs offensive highlights, am I right? Danny Dimes rolls out to his right, catapults one, and that ball is going into the other direction by Stephon Gilmore, newest addition to that Cowboys secondary. We're going to see a Giants highlight finally? I don't think so. Isaiah Hodgins running, Trayvon Diggs strips it out. Cowboys defense does not give up. 3 total takeaways in this one. You know what they say, when it rains, it pours. Dallas annihilates New York. Micah Parsons, what do you think about that performance?
I thought it was good, all 3 phases, but it started off with the special teams, that big block, and I just think we just carried the momentum from there, and we just never let up, which is good. Great sign, because last year we might have let up a little bit, but we just stayed on them and didn't let them breathe. We smothered them.
This victory brings Dak Prescott's record against the Giants to 11-2. When healthy, he hasn't lost to New York since 2016. The boys will host the Jets without Aaron Rodgers next week in their home opener.
When we return, more action from the Big Apple. Yet another record-setting milestone for Novak Djokovic. And later, we'll shout out our picks for Military Players of the Month. We'll break down 2 dominant offensive performances on the gridiron.
Welcome back to the show. To all my Fast and Furious fans out there, you know in Furious 7, these two, Dom and Brian, drove off on one last ride side by side. It's been a while since we've seen this guy in this uniform. But ahead of the 2024 Olympics, LeBron James is also considering one final run to take home his third gold medal. But first, let's examine the current squad Team USA is rocking with. For the time being, this is what the starting five looks like. USA head coach Steve Kerr only brought 3 All-Stars to the World Cup in the Philippines, which resulted in the States falling to Germany last Friday, bringing their finish to 4th place in the entire tournament. But let's be honest, the World Cup doesn't match the Olympics. So what would this juggernaut of a team look like? Well, King James is no stranger to team construction. The 4-time MVP has reached out to multiple stars, including Kevin Durant and Steph Curry. The three are viewing the Paris Games as a last dance with USA basketball. And with the Olympics beginning in less than a year, all eyes are on LeBron. But in the words of Michael Jackson, I think we've got a good thing going.
Here's a little history lesson for you. You may have heard of the US Open, but did you know it used to be played in a literal garden? That was until 1978 when they relocated to the National Tennis Center in New York. At this year's event, over 950,000 fans turned up over a 20-day span, and Novak Djokovic knew he had to redefine what was possible. In 2021, Daniil Medvedev stopped Djokovic from obtaining his 24th major title. 2 years later, they rematched in the US Open Finals. The 38-year-old finally overcame the chess master, resulting in the Serbian making history, surpassing Serena Williams in Grand Slam victories. Claiming this win skyrocketed the Serbian's career earnings to $175 million, as he remains the richest tennis player in 2023. After almost losing a close set, Djokovic knew what he had to do to claim the US Open trophy.
You know, I was losing my breath and my legs on so many occasions in the second set, so yeah, I think that was the key. It was such a relief to win the second set. In the third, it was really just step over the line, you know, just serve and volley, shorten up the points, don't get into too long rallies, and he missed in some big points, you know, he missed a couple of shots.
This win propels Djokovic from number 2 to number 1 in the world rankings.
He's now tied with tennis legend Margaret Court for most titles ever by any player of any era. After the break, we discuss our 2 picks for Military Sports Players of the Month. These 2 guys have made their case with strong performances thus far into the season.
Countries around the world are in preparation for the upcoming FIFA World Cup. The Americans faced off against Oman, and even though it was a friendly, things got ugly quick. U.S. ended the first half up 1-0. The second half was all USA, scoring 3 goals in just over 20 minutes, resulting in a 4-0 victory over Oman. The FIFA World Cup doesn't start until 2026, but it's looking like USA is already eyeing that World Cup trophy. Passion is what makes life interesting. What ignites our soul and fuels our love and carries our friendships, stimulates our intellect, and pushes our limits. Those are the words of Pat Tillman. Tillman played in the NFL for the Arizona Cardinals. After the 9/11 attacks, he enlisted in the U.S. Army and later lost his life in combat.
And we understand that nothing is greater than risking your life for your country. On our behalf, we'd like to thank all the men and women who sacrifice their life every day so that we can live in freedom. With that being said, let's acknowledge our picks for Military Sports Players of the Month.
First off, let's start with Isaiah Olsen on the offensive side of the football. The Army wideouts game last week against Delaware State wasn't talked about enough. He finished with 3 catches for 135 yards and 2 touchdowns, contributing to that 57-0 win over the Hornets. The last time an Army receiver had 130-plus and 2 touchdowns, Soulja Boy's Cranked Out was released. If Olsen keeps his production up, he's on track for a 1,000-yard receiving season. Keep an eye on him this Saturday when the Black Knights visit UTSA.
Now let's go to the skies with Air Force quarterback Zach Larrier. In his season opener, he rushed for 2 touchdowns and threw for another. The senior finished with a career high of 99 rushing yards, but this shouldn't be surprising because in high school, he was a 2-time state champ in track. Larrier finished 2 for 3 in completions, with one being an 84-yard touchdown pass to Jared Rosnos. The win marks 17 straight season-opening wins for Air Force. The Falcons' next matchup is tonight against Utah State, who's beat them in the previous 2 meetings. On November 4th, these 2 schools will face off at Empower Field at Mile High. It'll mark the first time the stadium has hosted the Air Force-Army rivalry.
That's all the time we got for today's show. Thanks for tuning in into this edition of Star Spangled Sports. I'm Kyle Abercrombie. That's Matt Seaman. See you next time.